there are a lot of Americans out there, I know there are a lot of reporters out there that are very frustrated by the fact that the truth doesn't matter to Donald Trump. And reality doesn't seem to matter to this White House. That they change their stories every day. One of the good things about Bob Mueller being appointed is facts do matter to him. And he's a just the facts, ma'am sort of guy. And he writes it down and he's going to follow it. So Donald Trump can change his story on Rod Rosenstein as much as he wants to. It only impeaches his credibility even more as this investigation goes forward. Bob Woodward, I want to go back, though, to something that Donald Trump tweeted yesterday morning, saying that this is the greatest witch hunt in American history. We are all reminded by when Richard Nixon had said that what you were doing, what Woodward, what Bernstein, what the Washington Post were all doing against him was a great, quote, witch hunt.
Yes, and he, of course, he didn't like it. But you know that's the problem here is Trump, and one of the criticisms in the Obama White House, spent a lot of time reporting on that, was people say there'd be a meeting and somebody'd say, what's the budgetary implication of this? What are the allies going to think? What's the political implication? And no one ever asked the question, what are we trying to accomplish?
Right.
And that's what this President Trump needs to do, needs to start out the morning and say, what am I trying to accomplish? I suspect, I mean, you know him well. I don't think he wakes up in the morning and says, how can I screw things up and cause damage to this country and the president?
How many people
but
he's
got to figure out
I want to ask,
what is he trying to do?
I'm going to bring you into this because this is a very important point. I was telling somebody this yesterday afternoon, that if you want to understand Donald Trump, you don't have to read The Art of the Deal. You need to read the first page of The Art of the Deal. Has anybody read The Art of the Deal here? Because, Willie, in The Art of the Deal, on the very first page, Donald Trump says, and this is back in the 70s, 80s, whenever he wrote it,
80s, yeah.
He said, I don't plan ahead. Mm-hmm. I just show up in the office, I wait for phone calls to come in, I wait for things to happen, I don't plan things out. Things just happen, and when they happen, I react to them. And that really was, for anybody that knew Donald Trump in New York, that's how his business ran. And at times, that worked for him. It certainly worked for him personally. But it's clear that's how he's trying to run his White House. And that's why 4 months in, he's having to hire criminal lawyers. It's just an absolute train wreck. And this man at 70 years old is stuck in his habits. He does not appear to be changing, Willie.
Well, he's an ad-lib guy, and so now what we have is an ad-lib presidency, which is to say if there is a plan at the beginning of the day, if the White House does come up with a strategy, they can't count on their principal to carry it out through the rest of the day or to the next day even, Caddy. I'm thinking again about the Lester Holt interview where they came out and said it was Rosenstein's memo that compelled Donald Trump to fire James Comey, and then in a single answer, in a single interview with Lester Holt, he blows that whole thing up. But this is the way he's been, and it was his strength during the campaign. It was why people liked him. He said what came to his mind. He reacted in real time. He was honest and upfront in the way he spoke. But that's more difficult when you're president of the United States and you have an agenda you're trying to carry out.
Yeah, and it's probably why they came in, and despite all of the people telling them you shouldn't appoint General Flynn to be your national security advisor, we have to go back in time and remember that moment of incredible confidence that the Trump team had after winning an election that no one thought they were going to be able to win. And they thought they won it by doing things against the conventional wisdom. So if the conventional wisdom said don't hire Michael Flynn, they were going to hire Michael Flynn and put him in there. One thing on the going in and not having any plans, not all of the White House is working like that at the moment. I had a meeting this week in the White House on the foreign trip. It has been, they've spent a lot of time planning that. They have an incredibly ambitious agenda. They've thought through all of the different steps.
Oh, no, they do.
There are people in the White House who do think
foreign policy. You look at Secretary Mattis, and you look at General McMaster, you look at Dina Powell, you look at that group. Yes, they're planning this out. They believe they have a chance to make a real difference in U.S. foreign policy. But what they also understand is, though none of them will say this publicly because they're so disciplined, or privately, what they don't understand, what they have to be worried about is how a single tweet
Yeah.
can undermine their relationship with Israel
Or a single phone
or
call or a
Saudi
single comment
Arabia.
about
Or a
NAFTA
single
or yeah.
aside at a, during a speech.
Single aside at a press conference. I would love to know what their position is on a lot of the controversies that have erupted in Israel. But everybody's just going in their own different direction.